Martin County. Some students no longer have to quarantine if they're exposed to COVID, and there's a lot more families need to know before August.
Keeping students safe in schools, the decision whether or not to require our kids to wear masks is not set in stone yet. What's happening today that could determine what the first day of school will look like.
And how tall is too tall for a brand new high-rise depends on who you ask in West Palm Beach. We'll lay out the controversy brewing right now over some prime real estate along the waterfront.
You're watching CBS 12 News This Morning.
Good morning, everybody. It's 6 a.m. on a hump day. I'm Matt Lincoln.
I'm Ashley Glass. It's a hot hump day. Temps getting up to the 90s today. Lauren, let's check on that forecast.
Yeah, another warm one out there for us today. It's humid for us too. So that means it's going to feel a lot worse outside than it actually is. And low 90s is still pretty hot. 82 degrees right now is the current heat index in Stewart. It feels like 83 in Boca. So as you head out the door this morning, it's going to feel a lot warmer than it actually is. We're going to deal with the heat index only in the 70s for maybe the next hour. But by the time we get to about 8 or 9, as that sun starts to come up, those temperatures are rising, and so the heat index is going to increase as well. So you'll notice through most of the afternoon, it's going to easily feel like it's in the triple digits today. Make sure you're staying hydrated, take frequent breaks if you have to work outdoors for long periods of time today. You'll see our hour by hour skies are dry to start. With the south wind, though, a few showers will start developing, especially maybe just west of 95 and the turnpike like yesterday. We've got the sea breeze kind of running into that south wind. So that could allow some of those showers and storms to start kind of popping up for us. And we'll continue to see that activity through the later afternoon and lingering into the evening. Matt, Ashley.
All right, Lauren, thank you. Taking a look right now at our roads here, and this is what we're looking at in Martin County. No problems right there. In fact, no major issues on our roadways anywhere from Fellsmere south to Boca Raton, and our traffic tracker is on southbound Australian Avenue in West Palm Beach. Stopped at a traffic light, but other than that, no issues on the roads.
6:02 this morning, an alarming increase in coronavirus cases across the nation.
The CDC says the highly contagious Delta variant is linked to 83% of the new infections in the United States.
And Florida is preparing for the worst of the cases in the variant surge.
Yeah, right now the state accounts for nearly 20% of the nation's new cases over the last week. And all this is playing a big role as our kids are set to go back to school in less than 3 weeks.
We have team coverage for you this morning. Our Kara Duffy standing by with the local school district's plan for mask policies.
But we begin with our Sam Kerrigan. She's following this story all at the top of parents' minds from the live desk. Sam, Martin County has a new quarantine policy.
That's right. We now know students in Martin County will not be required to quarantine if they're exposed to COVID-19 and are fully vaccinated. However, students who are not vaccinated will have to quarantine if they come into contact with someone who has the virus. This new policy, laid out in the county's back-to-school COVID plan, was approved in a school board meeting last night, and the school district tells us it comes straight from the state health department. But Martin County Superintendent John Millay also says the district won't require parents to disclose if their child is vaccinated in the first place.
If a parent chooses to vaccinate their child and they choose to give that vaccination record to us, we record that. If they do not give that to us, we make no request for it.
Another thing to keep in mind here is that right now only children 12 and older are able to get the vaccine. So under Martin County's current rules, any child younger than 12 would have to quarantine if they come into contact with someone who has the virus. Only one parent spoke at that school board meeting last night, questioning why the district wasn't adding stricter mask requirements. As we know, the American Academy of Pediatrics just updated its guidance calling for all students to wear masks in the classroom. But the superintendent in Martin County says masks will be available for any student who wants one, but for now their policy remains masks will be optional. Matt and Ashley.
Sam, and today school board members in Palm Beach County will re-examine their reopening plan in light of the current COVID surge.
A lot going on as we inch closer to back to school. Let's go to Kara live this morning with what we can expect. Kara?
Matt, Ashley, that's right. It doesn't matter if you're here along the Treasure Coast or all the way down in Palm Beach County. All parents and administrators, well, they have the same thing on their mind. What will the safety protocols look like in the classroom? And that's what we can expect Palm Beach County district officials to tackle today. They're going to be taking a closer look at their plans for everything from masks to quarantine rules. Now, here's where we stand as of right now. We know in Palm Beach County, social distancing will be encouraged, but a big change this year, students who have to quarantine, well, they won't have the option to attend classes remotely. They will just be provided makeup up work instead. As far as masks go, every school district in our area leaving that up to parents to make the call. Without stricter preventative measures in place, some doctors worry that it could mean trouble for students come next month. Take a listen.
The fact that we're seeing them coming in younger and younger makes it very concerning that the next group of people that we may see in the hospital will be our teenagers, maybe our adolescents and our younger children.
Health officials tell CBS 12 News unvaccinated kids under 14 account for about 20% of all new infections in Palm Beach County. Doctors attribute that statistic to there being no vaccine for kids under 12. Quite a lot of information. Of course, this will be something, a conversation that is far from over, especially as we inch closer to the new school year. Matt, Ashley.
So what do you think the start of school should look like in Palm Beach schools? The district will hold a school board meeting to talk about its reopening plan tonight. Starts at 5. They'll also hold a workshop on what they should look for in a new superintendent after Dr. Donald Fenoy's resignation last week. That's directly before the meeting, and it is open to the public.
6:06, and this morning we are getting a new look at the site where the Champlain Towers South once stood. Take a look at the pictures here by Senator Jason Pizzo. He tweeted these. Pictures show the site clear from all debris from the rubble that nearly was a month ago that the building came down. Miami-Dade County has stopped giving us updates on how many people are still accounted for at this time. Right now, the future of the property is still unclear. Just last week, a Miami-Dade judge ordered to start the process of selling it. Judge says any proceeds of a sale would go directly to those impacted by the collapse.
This morning, we're learning about a building less than a mile away from those Champlain Towers South deemed unsafe for residents. The Regent Palace condominium is the latest building to have structural damage. A report shows the 70-year-old building has damaged columns. Right now, residents are being asked to leave immediately.
Meanwhile, this morning, there's a controversy over building new high-rise towers on the West Palm Beach waterfront. The proposed development would loom over the Northward community on Flagler Drive, but it would require zoning changes as one tower could reach as high as nearly 400 feet. So the pros here, the towers would include some landscape walkways, large open green spaces, and some nice scenic views. But the cons, some people believe it would take away from the historic beauty of the city and increase traffic.
Many of them look at the height, the extreme height, and say this is right next door to an established, historic, single-family home area that has had residents contributing to the city, paying their tax dollars, and expecting that the zoning and the staff of the planning department would represent their interests.
Rezoning talks will be brought up again at a city commissioners meeting next month.
6:07 now. We have an update this morning on the man who survived a brutal freak encounter with a 9-foot gator, how he's doing after surgery.
Plus, a look back at the deadly hurricane that swept Florida almost 100 years ago. An author tells us how the disaster led to man-made technology that controls Lake Okeechobee to this day. That's coming up in less than 10 minutes.